What if the most brilliant person in your company didn't wear a suit but a name tag? What if the quietest voice in the room spoke 9 languages fluently? At Halberg International, no one paid attention to the overnight cleaning crew, not out of cruelty, out of habit. They came and went like shadows, emptying trash bins, mopping conference room floors, invisible, until one Monday morning a woman in a janitor's uniform stepped forward, and in a moment of quiet crisis, she answered. Not in English, but in perfect Mandarin, then Spanish, then French. She wasn't supposed to speak, but what she said would shake the building to its core. This is the real story of Denise Atwater, the janitor who became an executive. Not through charity, but because someone finally listened. And when they did, they realized she wasn't just cleaning the floor. She was cleaning up everything we thought we knew about talent, worth, and who really belongs at the top. Most people didn't notice the cleaning crew at Halberg International, not because they were cruel, but because they never looked. They came in after hours, pushing carts, emptying bins, wiping glass. They moved like elevator music, present, useful, and utterly ignorable until that morning. It was Monday in downtown Fort Worth, Texas. The lobby buzzed with the clatter of heels, murmurs of deadlines, and the desperate tapping of caffeine-chasing fingers. Jonathan Kellerman, CEO of the company, was halfway from the parking garage to the 18th floor when he heard something strange. Not noise. A voice. Not just any voice. Mandarin. Fluent, sharp, effortless. He froze mid-step. It had been months since he last heard it. Shanghai office, if he remembered right. But here, in Texas, he scanned the lobby, expecting maybe an international rep checking in early, but then he saw her. A woman in a burgundy janitor's uniform, ponytail pulled tight, standing near the touchscreen directory. She was mid-conversation with an older man in a navy jacket, confused, lost. She wasn't panicked. She was helping. Calm hands, warm tone. Then the voice shifted. Spanish, aimed at a delivery man. Then again, French, to a vendor nearby. Kellerman's jaw tensed, not from anger, from something worse. Guilt. He'd spent 20 years in global logistics, hiring translators, building culture training manuals, and here she was, the most linguistically gifted person he'd met in years, cleaning bathrooms 2 floors below. He stepped forward. "Excuse me," she turned, startled but not shaken. "Yes, sir?" "That was Mandarin, right?" "Yes, sir." "You speak it fluently?" "Yes." "And Spanish? French?" She nodded. "Also Portuguese, German, Arabic, Italian, Swahili. I read Latin, but I don't really count that." He blinked. "You're telling me you speak 9 languages?" "Yes, sir. No bragging, no apology, just fact." He stared at her, stunned. She wasn't just a janitor, she was a walking United Nations. "What's your name?" "Denise Atwater." "Miss Atwater, are you free for a few minutes?" She paused. A hesitation not of fear, but familiarity, the reflex of someone used to being ignored. "Now?" "Yes." "I'd like to talk to you in my office." She nodded. "All right." The elevator doors closed behind them. Silence. Halfway up, Denise spoke. "I've worked here for 13 years. Her voice was quiet, but anchored. He looked at her. "Never thought you'd be invited upstairs?" She gave a soft smile. "Not once." "You might be surprised how fast things change," he said. He had no idea how true that was. The executive floor smelled like citrus and leather. Money, if you had to name the scent. His assistant's eyes widened at the sight of Denise. No explanation. Just a nod, and the door opened. Inside, the office was clean and glass-walled. A world map hung behind Kellerman's desk, pins scattered across continents, espresso tray, family photo, dusty award from Brussels. "Please have a seat," he said. Denise sat, deliberate, hands folded, eyes scanning, not impressed, just observant. "I'll be honest," he started. "I didn't expect this conversation today." She nodded once. Still silent. "But I just heard you speak 3 languages like they were light switches, and I need to understand, how does someone like you end up mopping these floors?" She looked out the window, then back to him. "You got time for the truth?" "I wouldn't have asked otherwise." She exhaled. "I was born in Toledo, Ohio. Only child of Dad was a pipe fitter. Mom a nurse's aide. They didn't have much, but education, that was non-negotiable. I got a full ride to Kent State, linguistics, halfway through my master's. Mom got sick. I came home. Dad passed from a stroke 6 months later. Everything fell apart." She looked down, then up again. "I had a baby. No partner that stuck around. Worked grocery stores, temp agencies, nursing homes. Eventually a custodial supervisor here. Offered night hours. It let me pick up my daughter, help with homework. Keep the lights on." Kellerman said nothing. He just listened. "But the languages," she continued. "I never stopped. Borrowed books. Downloaded recordings. Read newspapers in 5 tongues. It's the only thing I do that makes me feel like I still matter. No drama, no poetry, just truth. Most people never asked," she added. "They saw the uniform and assumed." The word landed like a stone, assumed. Kellerman sat back, the weight of her story settling into his chest. She cleared her throat. "Look, Mr. Kellerman, I'm not bitter. Life happened. I did what I had to do. I still do. But you asked, and that's the answer." He let out a slow breath. She wasn't asking for pity. She was offering him something rarer. Clarity. "You ever think about doing something else?" he asked. She shrugged. "Sometimes. But it's hard to dream when rent's due." The silence returned. Different this time. Full. Then Kellerman picked up his notebook and jotted something down. "What are you writing?" she asked, curiosity. Breaking through, he looked up, eyes sharper now. "An idea." The idea stuck with him all day. Even as budget reviews dragged and vendor calls blurred into one another, Kellerman's mind circled back to the janitor who spoke 9 languages like secrets she'd been forced to swallow. By 3:45 p.m., he found himself taking the elevator down, not by habit, by intention. The air on the service floor was warmer, heavier. The walls were smudged with cartwheels and boot scuffs. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. He passed break rooms, storage closets, finally reached the janitorial supply room. There she was, Denise, restocking microfiber cloths like any other Tuesday. "Mind if I bother you again?" She turned, surprised. "You came down here?" "I couldn't stop thinking about our talk," he said. "I have a favor to ask." She raised an eyebrow. "What kind of favor?" "There's a meeting upstairs. A team from Sao Paulo flew in early. Our translator bailed last minute. Can you help?" A beat. "Portuguese?" she asked. He nodded. She nodded back. "I can do that." Minutes later, she entered conference room C4. Brazilian executives sat tapping their phones, expressions unreadable. Denise stepped in, calm and measured. Then she spoke. Portuguese, fluid, melodic, natural. Something in the room shifted. Shoulders dropped. Eyes sharpened. A wall came down, word by word. One of the men cracked a joke. She laughed, then volleyed back with one of her own. They all chuckled. Kellerman didn't understand the words, but he understood the effect. She wasn't just translating. She was connecting. After 20 minutes, the meeting wrapped. One executive turned to Kellerman. "She's better than anyone we've worked with this year. Where'd you find her?" He glanced at Denise, already clearing cups. "Right here," he said. Back in the hallway, he caught up with her. "You ever do professional translation before?" She shook her head. "No certification. I've helped folks at hospitals. City
offices, bitte, but my daughter needed me more." He asked about her daughter. She's 26 now, a nurse in Tempe, paid for school herself, stubborn, like her mama.
They both smiled. In that moment, they weren't CEO and janitor. They were two people talking about life. The next morning, Denise was wiping down the east lobby when her supervisor tapped her shoulder. "Mr. Kellerman asked to see you again." Her heart skipped. "Did I do something wrong?" "No idea," he shrugged. "Just said to send you up." She washed her hands, smoothed her sleeves, and took the elevator back to the 18th floor. This time, everyone seemed to notice her. Some looked curious, some whispered. One receptionist smiled, like she knew something Denise didn't. In Kellerman's
office, the skyline stretched behind him, black coffee in hand. "Come in," he said, still facing the window. She waited by the door until he turned. "I've been thinking," he said, placing his mug down. "About talent."
About waste. How many people never get a shot, not because they're not good, but because nobody looks twice. Denise said nothing. She'd heard words like this before. They often came cheap. "I want to create a new role," he continued. "One that didn't exist before, but maybe should have." She raised an eyebrow. "For what?" "Cultural liaison for international affairs. Someone who speaks the languages, understands nuance, handles guests, vendors, contracts, everything." We keep fumbling through. She didn't respond right away. "You're qualified," he said. "More than most on our leadership team, honestly. And you've already proved you can do it, with grace, patience, and brilliance." She looked at him, unsure. "This real?" "As real as it gets. I don't have a college degree. You have something better. Lived experience, commitment, and fluency in 9 languages. You think I care about a piece of paper?" She shifted her weight, still skeptical. "Why me?" "Because I watched you solve 3 problems in 3 languages before 9 a.m. and because I'm tired of walking past people like you, people doing twice the work for half the credit." She crossed her arms. "You know what people will say." "I don't care." A pause. "I've never had an office job," she said softly.
"Never had a title. You'll learn fast. I don't have a wardrobe for this kind of thing. I'll have HR send you a stipend." She chuckled dryly. "You thought of everything, huh?" "I'm trying." She looked down at her hands. "You sure this isn't a favor?" He shook his head. "This is overdue recognition." Her eyes glistened, but she didn't let the tears fall. "Okay," she whispered, then steadier. "Let's see what I can do." He extended his hand.
She took it. It wasn't just a handshake, it was a rewrite of history. But neither of them were ready for what the rest of the company was about to do. Because by Wednesday morning, the elevators weren't just moving staff. They were carrying rumors. By Wednesday morning, the story had outpaced the elevators. Denise Atwater, the janitor from the night shift, was now an executive. No one knew exactly how. Just that the CEO himself had picked her, that she spoke a bunch of languages, that maybe, just maybe, she used to work for the government or was undercover or had some kind of secret resume. The truth didn't matter. Whispers slipped through every hallway. Some smiled. Some said, "Good for her," but not everyone was clapping. In the staff lounge, 2 marketing assistants leaned over their kale salads. "I've got a master's in international business," one muttered. "Been waiting 2 years for a promotion." "Last week she was scrubbing urinals," the other scoffed. "Maybe she knows something we don't." "Oh, please, it's just Kellerman trying to look progressive. Check a box." And that same energy leaked into Slack, messages, boardrooms, casual meetings. Not everyone liked the ladder getting new rungs. Denise felt it the moment she walked into her new office on the 12th floor. The space was modest. A desk, a plant, a monitor she hadn't even touched. To her, it looked like another planet. HR handed her a laptop, a welcome packet, a badge with new access, then asked if she wanted to return her old uniform. She paused. "No," she said softly. "I'll
keep it, not to wear, just to remember." That afternoon, her first meeting came knocking, literally. Victor, the head of international operations. He didn't smile.
Didn't sit, just held a clipboard like it was a shield. "So, you're the new liaison," he said. His voice had the flavor of politeness, but not the taste. "That's what I'm told," Denise replied calmly. "You have any experience in corporate settings?" She smiled, small and sharp. "Only from the outside looking in." He didn't laugh. "I've got contracts from Dubai, vendor issues in Sao Paulo, reports from Italy. Think you can handle that?" She stood. "I'll need a few hours to review, but yes." He dropped the folder like a dare, then left. That night, Kellerman stopped by her office. "How's day one?" She leaned back in her chair. "I've had..."
Worse? Victor give you a hard time? He doesn't scare me, he smiled. I figured. She paused. But, can I ask you something? Anything. Why now? Why me? You could have given me a bonus and kept moving. He leaned against the doorframe, quiet for a moment. Because I saw myself in you, she raised an eyebrow. You were a janitor? No, but...
I was overlooked a lot. My dad fixed cars in a nowhere town. I worked 3 jobs through college. People thought I didn't belong in rooms like this. She nodded slowly. Now you're the one deciding who gets in. Exactly. There was a
beat of silence. Then she looked down at the file on her desk. I'll be honest, she said.
I'm nervous. Good, he said. It means you care. She looked up. There are going to be people who hate this. They'll get over it. Or they won't. Either way, we're moving forward. He stood straight. You have a story, Denise, a real one, and now you've got a platform. He turned to leave. She stared after him for a moment, then opened her drawer and placed her old janitor badge inside, not to forget, to remember what it took to get here. By Friday morning, her nameplate had been mounted. Denise Atwater, Cultural Liaison, International Affairs, black letters, brushed steel, clean, permanent, and then the email hit inboxes company-wide, sent by Kellerman himself, short, clear, and heavy. He explained her role, her background, and, most importantly, her value. It wasn't framed as a promotion or a gesture, it was fact. She's the best person for the job, period. Not everyone liked it. Some managers whispered, some doubted, but others started watching. And when Denise sat in on international meetings, they saw why. She spotted translation errors in contracts that had cost them money for years. She smoothed out miscommunications that legal teams had failed to untangle. She didn't show off, she just worked, quietly, precisely, better than anyone expected. On Monday, she was asked to join a meeting with the Moroccan delegation. The expansion into North Africa had stalled for months, language gaps, cultural stumbles. She walked into the room in a soft beige blazer. Calm, sat down, introduced herself in fluent Moroccan Arabic. The air shifted. People leaned in. They listened. Because when someone speaks your language, you don't just hear words. You feel seen. Afterward, one of the Moroccan partners approached her privately. He placed his hand over his chest, a sign of deep thanks. No one's ever done that for us, he said. Not in our language, not like that. She nodded. You matter, that's all. By midweek, Kellerman made a quiet move. He had the plaque outside the company's training room taken down. In its place, the Atwater room. No announcement, no cake, just a shift, a signal. That afternoon, Denise found an envelope on her desk, no sender. Inside, a note, handwritten. I used to think I'd be invisible forever. But today, I stood a little taller because of you. Thank you. No name, just impact. Denise stared at the words, throat tight. She didn't cry. She didn't need to, because she understood something now. This wasn't just a job. It was a door. But not every door stays open without a fight. Late Thursday afternoon, a calendar invite appeared in Denise's inbox, summoned to a meeting. Not by Kellerman, by someone even higher. Eleanor Craig, senior board member, old school, old money, and sharp enough to slice steel with a stare. Denise entered the 17th floor conference room. Eleanor didn't look up. Have a seat. She did. Tap, tap, tap. The pen clicked against the folder. I've reviewed your file. No college degree. No certifications. No corporate training. Denise stayed calm. That's correct. You were a janitor here 3 weeks ago. It was. Eleanor folded her hands. Help me understand how someone with your background is now handling high-level international affairs. Denise looked her in the eye. Because I speak the languages.
I understand the cultures. I've already fixed 2 vendor contracts, cleared a 3-month delay in our Morocco deal, and helped secure a verbal agreement with Brazil. Legal's finalizing it next week. Eleanor pursed her lips. You think this
Company should be run on instinct and charm? Denise gave a faint smile. No, Mum, I think it should be run on results. That made Eleanor blink. The first crack. I don't need to be liked, Denise added, but I do need to be useful, and I am. Eleanor stood, closing the folder slowly. You're a gamble, Denise nodded. I'm used to that. My whole life's been one. She didn't return to her office right away. She walked out of the building, sat on a bench across the street, and looked up. So many nights she'd passed this tower, in uniform, carrying mops, wondering if anyone saw her. Now they all did, and not. Everyone liked it. She pulled out her phone. Hey, Ma, her daughter answered. Everything okay? Denise hesitated, then smiled to herself. Yeah, just needed to hear your voice. They talked about groceries, the dog, a movie on Netflix. Nothing big, but everything steady. When the call ended, she stood up, crossed the street, and rode the elevator straight back to her floor. By morning, word of the Eleanor meeting had somehow leaked. But Denise? She didn't flinch. She showed up early. Spoke at a team meeting, took a call with the German office. No translator needed. Sharp, calm, unbothered. And on her office whiteboard someone had written, "We see you," 3 words. No signature, but to her they said everything. In the weeks that followed, something shifted. Subtle at first. People stopped coming to her just for translation. They came for advice, for clarity, for confidence. She'd sit with interns before big presentations, help pitch ideas, never talked down, never flexed, just listened. And lifted. One afternoon, a shy intern named Bao approached. How did you learn 9 languages? She smiled. 1 word at a time, same way you will. Later that month, Kellerman found her in the break room. Been hearing good things. She sipped her coffee. Been trying to ignore the bad ones. You're making waves. That a good thing? Around here, it means you're doing something right. He paused, then added, I've been thinking about starting a program, a pipeline for internal talent, especially folks in non-desk roles. There are probably more Denises in this building, she nodded. There are. They just haven't been seen. Yet. You want to help me build it? She smiled. Already started in my head. By month's end, the pilot launched. Voice inside. A mentorship initiative. Cross-departmental visibility, language classes, leadership coaching. A door for those who thought they'd always be in the hallway. It was Denise's idea, and it caught fire. Then came the Logistics Summit in Cincinnati. Her first time on stage, not as a cleaner, as a leader. She stood before a ballroom of executives, lights warm on her skin. She didn't tell a feel-good story, she told the truth. I was never just a janitor, she began. I was fluent, I was capable, I was ready, but no one looked long enough to see it. So the next time you pass someone without a title, ask yourself, what are you really missing? Silence. Then the room rose. A standing ovation. On her way out, a young man stopped her. Tears in his eyes. My mum's a housekeeper, he whispered. She speaks 5 languages. I used to be embarrassed to say that. She touched his arm. Never be ashamed of where you come from. The only shame is staying blind to brilliance. She walked out of that conference center taller than ever before, not because of the applause, not because of the title, but because she hadn't changed who she was to earn the seat she brought herself. Every piece, and that made all the difference. Never assume you know someone's worth by what they wear, where they work, or what their resume says. Talent has no dress code. Intelligence doesn't need permission, and brilliance can walk right past you wearing a name tag, holding a mop. If you've ever been overlooked, underestimated, or ignored, keep going. The right person will see you, and when they do, don't just take a seat at the table. Bring chairs with you. Denise Atwater's story isn't just hers. It belongs to anyone who's ever been told to stay in their place, to anyone who's been passed over, spoken down to, or silently underestimated. She didn't climb a ladder, she built a bridge for others to walk across, from janitor's closet to boardroom, from forgotten to unforgettable. So the next time you see someone in a uniform, pushing a cart, mopping a floor, ask yourself, what brilliance am I walking past? Because talent has no title, fluency wears no suit, and purpose doesn't need permission. If this story moved you, share it. If you've ever been overlooked, comment, I'm still here. And if you believe in stories that redefine power, subscribe to Real Life Stories. We don't just tell feel-good stories, we tell the truth.